In 1953, on the outskirts of Vix in northern Burgundy, a curious archaeologist by the name of René Geoffroy made a mind-blowing discovery. Beneath the chalky soil, the excavation revealed a 2,500-year-old burial mound, and inside, there was something that defied all expectations. Within the burial chamber were the remains of the Lady of Vix, a Celtic noblewoman resting atop a ceremonial chariot, untouched for millennia. Yet, it was the treasures encircling her that truly astonished René Geoffroy and his team. As they dug deeper, something else emerged, a masterpiece of Mediterranean craftsmanship known as the Vix Krater. Adorned with Greek alphabetical markings, this huge 460-pound bronze vessel is the largest ever discovered. With a capacity to hold over 1,000 liters of wine, this enormous Greek artifact somehow made it all the way to southern France. But as remarkable as the discovery was, something even more incredible was waiting to be unearthed in a small commune just 500 kilometers away. In 2015, on the outskirts of Laval in France, a team of archaeologists made an astonishing discovery. Beneath layers of soil, a careful excavation uncovered a 2,500-year-old burial mound. But what lay inside was beyond anything they could have imagined. Within the mound, a gigantic 14-square-meter burial chamber emerged. Inside, they found the remains of a Celtic prince, resting beside his chariot, untouched for centuries. But it was the treasures surrounding him that left the team in awe. Among the grave goods was a bronze cauldron, its handles adorned with the face of Hercules, the Greek river god. And next to that were several more artifacts, featuring Greek and Etruscan iconography. But why were these foreign treasures buried with a Celtic ruler? But even though some questions still remained, nothing could prepare archaeologists for what was hidden underneath a 15th-century palace in Rome. In 1864, a discovery captivated historians and art enthusiasts worldwide. Beneath the Palazzo Pio Righetti, a grand 15th-century palace, workers stumbled upon something astonishing, a colossal bronze finger. Driven by curiosity, excavators dug deeper, and there, lying on its side in a shallow ditch, was the source, a colossal gilded bronze statue. But the statue wasn't whole. Its feet were shattered, the back of its head was missing, and its genitals had been destroyed. Yet, despite the damage, the identity of this fallen figure soon became clear. It was Hercules, the mightiest of Greek heroes. But the statue had not yet given up all its secrets. As archaeologists studied it further, they made another discovery. The statue had been struck by lightning repeatedly since the 2nd century BC. And 1,300 years before that, there was something taking place in Africa that would later rewrite history as we know it. In the 1940s, something extraordinary stirred in a small Nigerian settlement. As villagers worked the nutrient-rich soil, they began exposing strange terracotta figurines buried beneath. But the real intrigue began when Bernard Fagg, a curious British archaeologist with a fascination for the unknown, eagerly arrived in Knock. Driven by local legends of mysterious ancestors, Fagg began his initial surveys, quickly turning the modest village of Knock into an archaeological hotbed. As the hard-working team continued to carefully excavate deeper, more terracotta sculptures were pulled from the soil, and alongside them lay mysterious ancient tools. Later tests uncovered evidence that the iron tools dated as far back as 1500 BC. They had proved beyond doubt that this was West Africa's earliest and most advanced civilization. But the intriguing discoveries had led Fagg to wonder what caused this ancient civilization to suddenly vanish. Meanwhile, 1,800 miles away in Egypt, offerings unlike anything seen before were being laid at the feet of an ancient god. In the 1930s, at the ancient Egyptian necropolis of Tuna el-Gebel, curious archaeologist Sami Gabra began extensive excavations. Beneath the sand lay a secret that had been hidden for centuries, an ancient underground sanctuary dedicated to the god Thoth. But it was what was inside that would defy all expectations. Gabra made his way through the ancient corridors, which eventually opened up into a vast underground gallery. He looked around and suddenly froze. There were thousands of mummies, but there was something different about them. They were not human. Gabra's heartbeat pounded as he looked upon creatures with elongated limbs, sharp fangs, and sunken eye sockets. Baboons, thousands of them. But why? These mummified baboons were bred for this fate, raised in darkness to be sacrificed to the god Thoth. But when it came to discoveries, few were as profound as the one unearthed in Mexico, where an archaeologist uncovered a tunnel leading to a secret hidden for centuries. In 1931, José Erosa Peniche, a tenacious archaeologist, found himself staring into a previously hidden tunnel at the bottom of the southern staircase of the Pyramid of Kukulkan. With a heart pounding in anticipation, Peniche and his team decided to go inside. Carefully removing centuries of rubble from the chambers, they eventually reached a room. Peniche shone his flashlight inside and gasped. There was something strange staring back at him, something unlike anything he had ever seen before. Painted deep crimson and covered in spots, it had what appeared to be teeth glinting in the dim light. It was a jaguar, and just in front of it was a chakmul, a place for the hearts of sacrificial victims. But there was another secret lay waiting. Two mysterious mosaic discs, and up to now, their purpose is unknown. Yet while the Maya made many sacred sacrifices at this ancient complex, in Argentina, offerings were so routine that few could have imagined what awaited at the summit of a volcano, frozen in time. On the 16th of March, 1999, Johann Reinhardt and his team were leading a high-altitude archaeological expedition at the top of the Lulailaco volcano in Argentina, when they stumbled upon a discovery that would captivate the world. 500 years earlier, an Incan priest had carefully carried a 15-year-old child, intoxicated with alcohol, to be sacrificed to the gods. A cloth was wrapped tightly around her head until she slowly suffocated. Yet the most astonishing revelation came much later, when scientists analyzed her hair. The perfectly preserved mummy, known as the Inca Maiden, is one of the best preserved mummies ever discovered. The hair analysis revealed information about her diet, and it's believed she was selected around a year before, being carefully prepared for this ultimate ritual. At the same time as this discovery, over 8,000 miles away in Turkey, archaeologists were battling to save an ancient city before it was lost forever. In a race against time, archaeologists began a rescue operation, battling to save the ancient city of Zugma before it eventually flooded. The Turkish government had initiated the construction of the Biricik Dam on the Euphrates River, which meant this 2,300-year-old Greco-Roman city would soon be underwater. As the waters of the Euphrates began to rise, the pressure was mounting, but little did they know what was waiting for them under a Roman villa. Just as time was running out, suddenly, archaeologist Catherine Abadi-Renal and her team made a stunning discovery. As the team wiped away the dirt, the discovery became visible in all its beauty, an ancient mosaic depicting Pasiphae, the Queen of Crete, and the creation myth of the Minotaur. And almost 20 years after this discovery, at the Louvre Museum in France, a strange story was beginning to take shape. In 2018, a long bronze finger was discovered at the Louvre Museum in France. It had been at the museum since 1862, and for 150 years, the finger's history and origin was unknown. But then, in 2018, that all changed. The Louvre had mistakenly categorized the finger as a toe until an eagle-eyed student, Aurelia Azima, established that it was the long-lost digit from the hand of a Roman emperor's statue. And in 2021, it was taken to Rome, where it was reunited with the hand of Constantine the Great. But when it came to body parts, there was something awaiting an Italian Egyptologist in Luxor that would shock the world. In 1904, Italian Egyptologist Ernesto Schiaparelli made a miraculous discovery in Egypt's Valley of the Queens. After months of careful excavation, his team finally uncovered the entrance to a hidden tomb. With no idea what was waiting, Schiaparelli went inside. Adorning the walls and ceiling were elaborate and beautiful paintings, preserved for over 3,300 years. It was the tomb of Queen Nefertari, the wife of Ramses the Great. The team were overwhelmed with joy, but it wouldn't last for long. It had been looted and trashed. But just when Schiaparelli was about to leave, he stumbled upon something strange. Laying on the floor were a pair of legs, and when scientists finally tested them in 2016, they were identified as the legs of Queen Nefertari. But when it comes to discoveries, few were as haunting as what emerged in 1863 in Pompeii. When Giuseppe Fiorelli was appointed to oversee the excavations of Pompeii in 1863, he noticed something unusual. There were hollow voids in the hardened volcanic ash. He soon realized that the voids were left by the bodies of people who perished when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. Fiorelli had an idea that would preserve the memory of these lives in a way never seen before. He began to pour plaster of Paris into the cavities, letting it harden, and then carefully removing the surrounding ash. What emerged were hauntingly detailed casts of the victims in their final moments, some shielding loved ones, others curled in anguish, all of them frozen in time. And even though the bodies are no longer there, not everything disappeared. Bones, teeth, and sometimes pieces of jewelry are still discovered. And whilst not all discoveries at Pompeii are this gruesome, some are so remarkable that they make headlines throughout the world. As archaeologists began their work at the suburban villa of Civita Giuliana in Pompeii, they had no idea they were on the brink of a breathtaking discovery. Pompeii, a city frozen in time, still holds over 20 hectares of secrets beneath its surface. But as the team carefully removed layers of ash, a mysterious object began to emerge. Just in front of a stable, where the haunting remains of 3 horses were previously unearthed, lay something extraordinary, a remarkably intact 4-wheeled ceremonial chariot. This ancient treasure, buried since the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, had been preserved against all odds. Encased in volcanic debris, it had escaped both the ravages of time and the hands of looters, waiting silently to be rediscovered.